Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is Joe Nicasio, your business coach here. Today, we're doing conversations with clients with Paul Gordon, otherwise known as Gordon Paul, otherwise known as an anagram. I met I, I met Paul on Facebook. He's this thing, the art of face dancing, and quite honestly, I'm not near as expressive as I could be, but working with Paul, it's really helped me kind of expand my range of how I show up. And so, I've worked with Paul and Paul's worked with me. We've actually hired each other. And Paul's just an amazing guy. He's teaching, people are doing, teaching how to do, social media content. And, Paul does something more above and beyond that. And I think he really helps, like, how the hell do you show up? Like, how are you showing up? And so we're going to get into Paul here in just a minute. And what I want to do is do some rapid fire questions with you, Paul. From James Lipton did a thing called the act inside the actor studio, and I know you've got like a huge acting background, so we'll just do these real quick. What's your favorite word?
Delightful.
Delightful. And what's your least favorite word?
Can't.
Oh, that's a bad one. What turns you on?
And bringing it ready with enthusiasm.
Okay. Showing up fully. Yeah, I like that. Enthusiasm. What turns you off?
The negativity with no solution offered.
Oh, yeah, that's bad stuff. What sound or noise do you love?
I love, my 4-year-old granddaughter. I love the sheer pleasure that she takes in deciding to laugh. So it's not even real laughter, but it turns into real laughter, and I know what it's going to become.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What sound or noise do you hate?
I really find myself annoyed with people that go, oh, in that way that that they are just shrugging off this thing that they expect to be annoying yet again. Like, what's the big deal?
Yeah. What profession other than your own, and we're going to talk about that in a minute, like what profession are you actually in? What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
I've been playing with the idea of creating a sort of performance art band, like, musical instrumentation band for a very long time, and I haven't actually done it. So I would love to do that. Yeah.
Cool. What profession would you not like to do?
The quintessential Wall Street whore. And I don't mean a prostitute. I mean the people who I would never want to be one of those guys.
The people selling their soul to make a buck.
Yeah. There were actually people, you may well know this. There were people on Wall Street when the World Trade Centers collapsed who cheered because they knew that they were going to corner some stuff for a profit.
They were able to capitalize on it. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah. Your soul is worth nothing, or how little did you say?
Right. Yeah. If it costs you your happiness or your soul, it's not worth it at any price.
Yeah.
Last of these warm-up questions. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
My fine friend, we've been expecting you.
I love that. All right, so Paul, you've come up with this thing, the art of face dancing. You've been an actor and acting instructor, and for like, I don't know, since like the days of Charlton Heston and when he played Moses in the Ten Commandments.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us what is the art of face dancing, and maybe you can give us a couple just quick bites or samples or examples of what is this art of face dancing thing?
Right. The art of face dancing. The art of face dancing.
And how is it different? How is it different from just showing up and making content?
Great. This is why you and I get along so well, Nat. You ask really good questions, and they're on target, and they also go above and beyond because you address issues. I believe that you are a deep thinker who attempts to address issues from a more profound place. So you are using your more complex senses of investigation, and that's why I like these questions. So what's the art of face dancing? The art of face dancing is neck up presentation. And why is it different, or how is it different from just plain showing up with content? We live in a video is king and queen world. No surprise. And the whole understanding of what it means to use those scripted templates that people are selling and offering or giving away for free as part of their copy paste horseshit is this very normalized, standardized bill of goods that passes for acceptable in this online space. And yet there isn't a single one of us out here who chooses whatever band, musician, composer, soloist that they truly groove on, whatever Netflix streaming series or series of films or director or actor or actress that they groove on, or poet, author, or anything else, because that person simply does copy paste imitations of all of the standard crap. No, what we groove on anytime we gravitate towards something is compelling, unique, badass, individualized, what I refer to as authenticity plus, because it's not just about being authentic. Everybody is bandying about this concept of authentic, and it needs to be more than that, because most people's version of authentic, sorry to say it. Actually, no, I'm not sorry to say it. I'm proud to say it. Most people's version of authentic is really, really sorry ass, lackluster, boring.
It's very vanilla. It's very vanilla. People show up and they're like, where is you? I mean, are you, and I'm like guilty. Okay, I put out some content that's just straight up teaching, and it's pretty introductory level, but I also rise to the challenge of saying, okay, today I'm going to make something really kick ass, but how many times are we going to hear people say, in order to get business, you got to know, like, and trust. You got to know, like, and trust. And it's like, okay, well, how do you get to know somebody? Like, we could do like a decade on that conversation. How do you get to like somebody? We could do a decade on that conversation. And trust building, like, that's a huge topic. And then, hey, what about the other things that aren't included, like safety? Everybody's like, oh, let's get on a free discovery session, and the problem is, we all know a discovery session means sales pitch, and you're going to try and sell me your shit. Okay. And so it doesn't feel safe. And no wonder people aren't buying from you, because you're showing up. Okay, I'm just trying to sell the thing so they know me, like me, and trust me, so I can just roll into my sales pitch. And I'm not even really connecting. It's like a one-way, it's a one-way soliloquy versus a true dialogue and conversation. Talk a little bit about how you can use your face and your expressions and your body language and the way you move to be unique and show up differently to get people's attention. Like the first law of communication I learned is attention. If I have your full attention, we got a chance. There is no such thing as your partial attention. I either have your attention or I don't. And if I don't, can we schedule a time when I can get your full attention?
They secretly scroll right and left and whatever it is. If you're boring
to you, I'm listening to you. Right. I got
dialing it in.
I'm listening.
Right. What was that? Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, good luck. Oh, yeah. Do 2 more reps, Max. Yeah, pump, get, go. Yeah, big.
I just know that when I show up more dynamically, I get people's attention. When I'm doing a rant that's genuine, like I'm tired of the bullshit. Like that's the stuff that people like, from the heart, the soul, the heart, the gut, the balls. When it comes from that core, people know this is real. But go ahead, talk about, and don't just talk about, demonstrate, I think what you have is some superpowers, honestly. Like you've trained yourself to be like an on-camera Gumby. You're very flexible with what you're capable of doing. So talk a little bit about all
that. You brought up so many different things, and I want to address the issue of what it means to offer two-way dialogue in a one-way situation versus talking at people, right? So one of the issues there is that you have to understand that rather than the whole way of thinking about things that you do when or that one would if one was trying to hop on a call and then get that sale, instead of actually plumbing the depths of what their God's honest passion play of truth type of message is, and just bring that so that there is this two-way dialogue, right? When you understand what it is that you truly want to say so that you get out of your own way and say exactly what you mean, unapologetically, with whatever polarizing opinions you happen to have, you will be attracting exactly the type of person who resonates with the shizzle that you're saying, right? That enables you to not have to hop on some call, because when you are speaking with people who truly get why you are saying what most people only dare to think, you have an opportunity to do what we can consider pre-qualifying people. When you pre-qualify them with your content, with your messenger discussions, with your questionnaire, with your calendar questions in the calendar link, all of that stuff, you have prepped them for the opportunity to understand that they are going to be on a call, not just to window shop, find out what you're all about, but to have done the due diligence in advance so the call can really get down to serious nitty-gritty. And then it's no big shock when you talk about price, because they already know that this call is not about seeing whether or not you're a good fit. This call for me is almost always about whether or not I choose to invite them. And that way, they already know that I am on the call to invite them, and they are there to pony up now or not. But because I am not trying to sell anybody anything, I have already insisted that my content do the heavy lifting for me.
Yeah, there's a great saying that the harder my marketing works, the easier my selling goes. So if I've done a good job with my marketing and I put out all this great content and people know authentically who the hell I am, by the time we get on a call, I don't have to do a lot of sales pitch. It's like, okay, let's talk about how this looks like, and if you're ready, let's get out that credit card. But before you even got on this call, you've pretty much made some kind of decision that, like, I'm inclined to work with this person. I want to share with you a quote. Oh, go ahead. You want to say something about that?
I was just going to give you a big up, because your way of offering a strategized breakdown of a sales call is a wonderful, wonderful way that reeks of confidence, authority, and an ability to bring people through to their own clarity, which allows you to sort of effortlessly discuss in your own way what I tend to do in my own way. And they are very similar.
Yeah, when I'm actually in a conversation with somebody, they are getting value from that. In my sales process, whether or not they buy from me, they will be better off by the time we're through with that conversation, because I'm asking the kind of questions that get them thinking to improve their situation. And if you've enjoyed this conversation and you'd like to continue on, then let's just get you into a program. I want to share with you a quote, and it's from a guy named Wyatt Woodsmall, who was I think he's still alive. He's a neuro-linguistic programming guru. And he said, when you can articulate another person's problem better than they can, they automatically and unconsciously credit you with knowing the solution. I'm going to read that one more time to let you process it. When you can articulate another person's problem better than they can, they automatically and unconsciously credit you with knowing the solution. And if you want, I can give a little more text. If I can say, hey, Paul, these are, it seems to me these are your frustrations. Like, yeah, these are frustrations. And it seems if you don't get those handled, it'll lead to this. You're like, yeah, I'm really afraid of that. And what, I have a program. If you really want these wants, like, yeah, I really want those things. And it leads to, helping you achieve your aspiration. When I can connect with you and demonstrate, I understand your frustrations, your fears, your wants, your aspirations. When I can show granularity of understanding your problem, you're like, holy shit, this guy knows me better than I do. What do you think about that quote, and what comes up for you around that?
Well, I think that's absolutely, straight to the point. And yes, I prefer giving people a very healthy dose of exactly what I truly believe. And I'll get to the reason that this integrates with with that quote in a moment. But I believe that getting to the core of what I truly believe will enable people to hear my voice when they understand or resonate with me. They will hear my voice articulating their concerns. Now, the reason that's of value is that it places me in a position of authority, because I've done my own due diligence, my own research, my own introspective examination of all of these things that I care about, right? So the conversation becomes about understanding what it is that I have spent so much time investigating, researching, and figuring out how to articulate in a program that I offer to others. And they want to know, everybody wants to get on a call and understand the how of it all. And I struggled with this for a while in this online thing, but I finally came to a sense of what it is. But the interesting thing for me is that I know that because I'm no different from anybody else on this planet, if I go deeply to the core of what I truly believe and I parse all of the different components and I figure out where I come down on one side or another of each of those many issues, then I will be able to articulate all of them. And when I say that stuff in my own unique way with my own polarizing opinions, I set myself as one who has done the due diligence, keep coming up with that, but I have then packaged a dense object that I can offer people.
You know, I think the work that you've done and the training you've done is a deep exploration of the understanding of human beings and how they function. I think, you know, my mentor Jay Abraham said human nature is immutable. You know, a human being is a human being is a human being, and when we understand people to the core, and then we show up and express ourselves from the core, it's like tuning forks where people resonate with the truth, and they also, I think, I don't know if there's, they anti-resonate with the bullshit. They anti-resonate with, like, that doesn't resonate as true. This is just another, you know. I want to talk, you know, so let's build a bridge on that. You know, I used to think the purpose of a business was to, you know, to make money, and how silly of me. That's actually not the truth. The purpose of a business is to create a customer, a human customer. So how do you think the art of face dancing helps you create customers by communicating with that deep empathy and understanding?
I have a deep-seated desire to develop a large rebellious crew of people rebelling against all of the standardized, normalized, scripted, templated bullshit out there, which I refer to as the herd of droners, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when I get on, you know, when I press record and I deliver whatever it is, or if I'm typing it out, if I create a funnel, whatever this stuff is, my programs are based deeply in a desire to facilitate people choosing to embrace their unique individuality. And then I show them how to do that. I teach them when they join me, right?
And that work is deep. That work is deep. You know, I want to work with you some more. You know, your work is deep, and you know, I have not been the most expressive person. You know, I used to be very shy and introverted. I grew up in a house where, you know, if I said something wrong, my mom would go ballistic and get very triggered, you know, and so I kind of blocked this whole throat chakra thing. So I've done a lot of work. I did 7 years at Toastmasters, and I've studied neuro-linguistic programming, all this stuff. There's a lot of ways to do this, but, you know, I'm probably, you know, there's a long way to go. What is the biggest thing that limits people from expressing themselves fully?
I believe the single largest thing is that they judge themselves in relation to all of the other people that are doing it so seemingly effortlessly out there, and they just don't see that it's not about grabbing a way that will work, but it has more to do with ridding themselves of all of that notion of competition and comparativeness and All of that is deeply rooted in that inner self-critic that we have lurking on our, behind our shoulder, whispering
Demons.
that negative horse shit in our ears, that reduces us to the, yeah, you ought not to try, or you'll never be, or you couldn't possibly, or how could that ever,
I know you don't have a lot of time here, but something's coming up for me. This idea of imposter syndrome, where you have amazingly brilliant people feeling they're not good enough to share their gifts with the world, and they have the gifts. They're talented, they're bright, they've done the work, but for some reason, do you have anything to just one or two tips about how to overcome imposter syndrome? I mean,
Yes.
there's people with imposter syndrome, and then there's straight up real imposters. We're not talking about those guys. I'm talking about the bright people that
Right.
that feel like for some reason they're not good enough or something.
Yeah, I have a 2-point freebie that, in my when embraced, actually begins to solve imposter syndrome almost immediately. Here it is. The first principle is that you go always toward things that you know and you have experienced and you have examined and researched that you deeply care about. That is one. Number two is a quote from the great American storyteller of a little bit over 100 years ago, Will Rogers. He traveled around and he had many great quotes, one of which is, "Never met a man I didn't like," which we could parse for quite some time. But the other one is right here and now. This is the actionable expression that he gave that is an imposter syndrome fix. Based on number one that I just put forth, if you done it, it ain't bragging.
Yeah, it ain't bragging if it's true. It ain't bragging.
So go toward your truth and then understand that you owe nobody an apology or an explanation, because you did it. And now you know that, boom, you can own it.
I want to ask you about your ideal clients, and I know you help the general, anybody on social media thing, but I know you also work with some powerful CEOs, people that have to give those big speeches, people that need, look, if you're in leadership, you got to express yourself more powerfully. You can't be a drone. You can't be a monotone. You can't show up without a personality. And I know that you do work with powerful people, but if you could say my ideal client is, who do you work with? Who's that dream client you love working with?
I love working with people who are now in their middle ages, anywhere between the ages of 40 to 70, who actually have done this corporate thing for a period of time and really want to extract and unleash the shit that they have been storing up for a long time.
It's bottled up in there. Let it out.
Time to let that stuff fly. The way I look at it is, we, you and me and everybody else, we are our own best advocate. If we can learn to let that stuff rip, we can facilitate an impassioned team. We can galvanize people to action. We can teach people so that they can take what we have taught them and they can turn around and teach other people. But stopping yourself.
You're reminding me of one of the things that I say about the difference between people who follow my social media and my paid clients. My people that follow my social media, what do they say is, "Oh, I like your content. I liked your video." But the people that actually hire me, that I work with, it's like, you changed my freaking life. It's like, it's night and day. And talk about, Paul Gordon, the guy that they see on, on social media versus Paul Gordon. Like, how are people transformed? Like, a great question is, what are Paul Gordon's superpowers? But a better question is, what are the superpowers that people have after they work with Paul Gordon?
Well, here's, this, I had a friend, a peer, a long time ago, explain to me some stuff. Well, also, it was in conjunction with a brilliant PR guy who worked for me for many years way back. Take a look at the transformation that you want to achieve with people, and let's look at the pain point, the main core problem, and then the main core solution, right? So I was asked to boil both of those down to a 3 to 5 word expression. And then once I got that shit down, he said, okay, now tell me the main core problem and the main core solution in one word. And when you can do that, you really have dialed in what it is you want to take people from to, right? And that really, that cuts to the core. You just asked me a question. What do people achieve? Fearlessness.
What are the superpowers they have after they work with you?
Fearlessness.
I love that. Well, Paul, I know you got a lovely wife waiting for you to go out and have a nice dinner with her, because there's love and romance there, and
this is that's some of her painting. I'm gonna give you a little sample here. This is a painting of my wife's.
It's a little bit fuzzy. I think it's an internet connection problem, but it's a lovely picture. Yeah, I feel like I'm in a subway or a spaceship. I don't know.
Yeah, subway. Yeah, New York subway.
Yeah. So what is there any last thing that you want people to know? And how do people contact you?
Well, they contact me through theartoffacedancing.com. I know it's a long expression, but fuck it, that's my choice. So Paul, Paul, at theartoffacedancing.com. That's my email. That's my website. And I also have another new one, which is paulgordoncoaching.com. And on Facebook, my name is reversed, so I'm Gordon Paul. And those are the ways people can get in touch with me. Yeah.
Well, Paul, I have enjoyed learning from you. I actually, when I get on some of my coaching calls, I actually sometimes pull up some of your videos and say, be more like this guy. I think there's something to be learned from that. So I enjoyed learning from you. And I also enjoyed, you've got a lot of value to share the world. And if people knew how you can transform their life, of course, there would be a line around the block of people, eager to get your guidance and your wisdom and mentorship. So I get a thrill in helping the world, helping you become a better marketer and salesperson of what you're doing. You're doing a damn good job already, but this is what I do.
With your help, man. And might I add that you are a very generous and kind, sharing person. I truly believe that you have good people's best interest at heart with your mission, always keeping that, in the forefront of why you're here. It's very nice. It's very refreshing. It's very rewarding. Truly.
Paul, I am an expert at sales. I'm an expert at marketing, but I don't want to be known for those things. I want to be known as the trusted advisor. Like, people can come to Joe when they hire Joe or they work with Joe, that Joe, you're in good hands with Joe, and Joe won't steer you wrong. And that's who I am and what I'm about.
You have not steered me wrong yet, and you asked me to hop on this interview, and I was delighted. And I say no to an enormous amount of stuff every day because I am focused. But I truly appreciate you, and resonate with the way you comport yourself. So it's a no-brainer for me. I enjoy our conversations, and I'm delighted to have this opportunity to have a little chit chat with you.
All right, everyone. This is Joe. We've been doing conversation with clients with Paul Gordon, or Gordon Paul, however you want to anagram it. And we've been talking about the art of face dancing, and we just scratched a tiny amount of surface where, Paul is a master. He's been, every master was once a disaster, but he has been really working on his craft for decades and decades. And, how blessed to have the opportunity to be coached by Paul. And so if you want to get a hold of Paul, go to theartoffacadancing.com, Paul at theartoffacadancing.com. And, I get a tremendous amount, helping others. I help myself. Working with somebody like you, even, coaching you in your business, I learn from my clients, just as I'm sure you do too. So, you know what? I don't want to keep your lovely wife waiting any longer. Go and have a little song, a little dance, a little seltzer in the pants.
Right. That was Lucille Ball at her best, man. That was when Jumbo the elephant, or Peanut the elephant. No, Jumbo the
was
clown.
Mary Tyler Moore.
Yeah,
Ted Knight.
Peanut. Yeah. Oh, this is so
somebody
good.
The clown.
Peanut, was it?
It was like
Peanut.
it was like
Bonzo
the clown or something.
But you're a blessing in my life, and I'm delighted to have you as a peer, a mentor, and a colleague. And you put these conversations forth so that your client base can gain some additional little nuggets of gold. And I hope, in fact, that we were able to galvanize a few people's spirits, even in this. And
I want to plug you one last time, and that is, if you're tired of the Me Too coaches, if you're tired of people saying make more videos, get on Instagram, if you're tired of not just learning a technique, but actually stretching yourself to show up in a bigger and more powerful way, contact Paul. He's your guy. All right, this is Joe Nicasio, Conversations with Clients. Paul Gordon, The Art of Face Dancing. Everybody have an amazing day. God bless y'all.